Ladies and gentlemen, today I want to speak to a part of you that often goes unspoken, the hidden pain, the weight you carry that no one else can see. It's that ache that lies beneath the surface, the emotions that stir quietly within, yet burn with the power you feel every day. These are the feelings we sometimes can't even name, the ones that seem too complex or too heavy to share, the struggles that feel uniquely ours, even though deep down we know others must feel this too. There is a quiet pain we each carry, a pain that lives beneath the surface, hidden from the world. It's the weight that sits within, affecting how we see ourselves and the world around us. We live in a time where strength is often defined by resilience, where pushing through challenges is seen as a badge of honor. But in that pursuit, sometimes we forget the importance of acknowledging the silent hurt we hold inside. This hidden pain doesn't announce itself loudly, but it can shape our thoughts, influence our moods, and dictate our actions without us even realizing it. For some, it might be past hurts that were never fully healed, memories that linger in the mind, reminders of moments when we felt less than enough, overlooked, or misunderstood. These fragments of the past don't just disappear. They settle within, affecting our present and often making us question our future. When we keep these hurts buried, they begin to weigh on us, subtly shaping our relationships, our self-worth, and even our sense of purpose. The weight grows heavier as hiding it requires energy we could be using to heal, grow, and connect more deeply with the world around us. Sometimes the pain isn't even something we can put into words. It's a feeling of unease, of carrying something that's been left unspoken. We might not even know where it began, only that it's been there, lingering, an unnamed ache we've been carrying for too long. This is the kind of pain that can make us feel isolated, like no one could possibly understand. But even as we feel this loneliness, we know that millions of others carry their own hidden hurts, walking through life with weights they feel they must bear in silence. There is a fear in acknowledging this pain, a fear that bringing it to light will make us seem weak, less capable, less resilient. But strength is not about denying pain, it's about facing it, feeling it, and finding a way to move through it. When we allow ourselves to acknowledge our hidden hurts, we're giving ourselves permission to be human, to experience the full range of emotions that come with being alive. This acknowledgement is not a sign of defeat, but an act of courage, a declaration that we are willing to face ourselves fully, even the parts we'd rather keep hidden. There is also a kind of healing that begins the moment we allow ourselves to be honest about our struggles. By acknowledging our pain, we start to remove the power it has over us. We no longer have to pretend, to wear a mask, or to act as if everything is fine. We begin to see that this hidden pain is not a flaw in our character, but simply a part of our journey. And in this acknowledgement, we find a sense of freedom, a release from the constraints of pretending, a chance to start healing in a way that honors our true experience. For many, admitting to this pain feels vulnerable, even risky. It goes against everything society often tells us about strength and perseverance. But there is immense strength in vulnerability. When we let down our walls and allow ourselves to feel, we open the door to true healing. This is where the journey begins, not in the denial or suppression of our pain, but in the gentle acknowledgement of its presence, the quiet acceptance that we are carrying something real, something that deserves our attention. It takes bravery to look within, to face the pain we've tried to ignore. But in that bravery, we discover something powerful. We find resilience not by avoiding the hurt, but by embracing it. We begin to understand that this pain is not a barrier, but a bridge, a path that leads us toward healing and transformation. By allowing ourselves to truly see and acknowledge our hidden pain, we take the first step toward freeing ourselves from its hold, opening the possibility of finding peace on the other side. Acknowledging this hidden pain is not just an act of self-awareness, it's an act of self-compassion. It's saying to ourselves, I see you, I hear you, I know you're hurting, and I'm here for you. This acknowledgement is the beginning of healing, the first step in a journey that can ultimately lead us to a place of understanding, resilience, and self-acceptance. There is a tendency to push our emotions aside, to brush off our feelings as if they're minor inconveniences that we can control or ignore. Society often teaches us that strength means keeping it all together, that the brave face is the only face worth showing. But what if true strength comes from being willing to feel, from having the courage to face our emotions head on? When we choose to face our emotions instead of running from them, we're choosing to honor the parts of ourselves that are hurting, to give voice to the feelings that have long gone unspoken. Facing our emotions is not a sign of weakness, it's an act of profound courage. Every emotion we experience has a purpose, a reason for its presence. Our sadness, our anger, our fears, each one carries messages from within, reminders of our values, our boundaries, and our needs. When we avoid these feelings, we're ignoring important messages that could guide us toward understanding ourselves on a deeper level. By facing our emotions, we allow ourselves to see these messages clearly, to understand what our mind and heart are trying to communicate to us. In this way, every emotion becomes a teacher, helping us grow, change, and understand ourselves more fully. Facing our emotions can feel uncomfortable, even painful, because it requires us to sit with feelings we may have been avoiding for years. But avoidance doesn't make the emotions disappear, it only buries them deeper. When we avoid feeling, we're like a pressure cooker building up steam with emotions simmering below the surface, affecting our health, our relationships, and our sense of self without us even realizing it. But when we allow ourselves to feel, to truly experience each emotion, we release that pressure. We begin to lighten the load we've been carrying, one emotion at a time. There's a powerful release in letting ourselves feel fully. Instead of pretending everything is okay, we allow the weight of sadness, the sting of disappointment, or the fire of anger to surface. In these moments, we're not surrendering to our emotions, we're honoring them, acknowledging their presence, and giving them the space they need to be heard. Facing our emotions doesn't mean we're controlled by them, it means we're embracing the fullness of our human experience, refusing to silence any part of ourselves. Facing our emotions is also a way of practicing self-compassion. When we allow ourselves to feel without judgment, we're giving ourselves permission to be human, to experience the highs and lows that are a natural part of life. This act of compassion can transform the way we see ourselves. Instead of feeling shame or guilt for feeling a certain way, we start to understand that every emotion has value. Every feeling, no matter how uncomfortable, is a reminder of our capacity to feel deeply, to care deeply, and to live fully. This self-compassion creates a sense of inner peace, a deep-seated comfort in knowing that we are enough no matter what we feel. When we face our emotions, we also strengthen our relationships. Instead of hiding parts of ourselves, we allow others to see us as we truly are, building deeper connections based on authenticity. But this openness doesn't mean we share everything with everyone, but it does mean we're honest with ourselves about what we're feeling. By being vulnerable with trusted people, we create bonds of understanding and support that help us feel less alone in our experiences. Facing our emotions not only heals us individually, but brings us closer to others, creating a ripple effect of trust and empathy. The process of facing our emotions teaches us resilience. Each time we allow ourselves to feel and move through difficult emotions, we become stronger, more capable of handling life's challenges. We begin to trust that we can survive and thrive through anything, knowing that no emotion is too big or too difficult to face. This resilience builds over time, allowing us to face the future with greater confidence, knowing that no matter what emotions come our way, we have the strength to handle them. Resilience isn't about never feeling pain, it's about learning to face pain with courage and grace. Facing our emotions also gives us clarity. By acknowledging what we feel, we start to understand the why behind each emotion. We begin to see patterns, to recognize the triggers, to understand what brings us joy, peace, or frustration. This self-awareness allows us to make choices that are aligned with who we truly are, to create a life that reflects our values and our authentic self. Facing our emotions becomes a pathway to self-discovery, to understanding what truly matters, and to living a life that feels true and fulfilling. Self-compassion is the foundation upon which healing and personal growth are built. It's the practice of treating ourselves with the same kindness, understanding, and patience that we would offer a dear friend. Often we're quick to criticize ourselves, to pick apart our flaws, and to dwell on our mistakes. But imagine if we spoke to ourselves with words of encouragement and support, just as we would to someone we love. Self-compassion is not about excusing mistakes or ignoring areas where we need to grow. It's about acknowledging that we are human, that we're allowed to stumble, and that every experience is a chance to learn and grow. When we practice self-compassion, we create a safe space within ourselves, a space where we feel accepted just as we are. In a world where external pressures can make us feel inadequate or undeserving, self-compassion gives us permission to be enough as we are in this moment. It's a gentle reminder that we don't need to earn our worthiness or prove our value. We are inherently worthy simply because we exist. This mindset doesn't make us complacent. It actually frees us to improve without the weight of judgment. Self-compassion opens the door to authentic growth, growth that comes from a place of love rather than fear. Self-compassion also allows us to navigate difficult emotions with grace. When we feel sadness, disappointment, or frustration, our first reaction is often to push those feelings away, to numb them, or to distract ourselves. But self-compassion encourages us to sit with those emotions, to acknowledge them without judgment, and to offer ourselves understanding. Instead of labeling our feelings as bad or wrong, we start to view them as part of our natural human experience. This shift in perspective helps us approach our pain with patience, understanding that healing is a process, not something that can be rushed or forced. Practicing self-compassion means recognizing that mistakes are part of growth, that every misstep is a learning opportunity. When we criticize ourselves for making mistakes, we reinforce feelings of inadequacy and fear of failure. But when we approach ourselves with compassion, we can see mistakes as stepping stones toward greater wisdom and resilience. We begin to understand that making mistakes doesn't make us unworthy, it makes us human. Self-compassion teaches us to embrace imperfection, to see that every flaw, every misstep is part of the journey toward becoming the person we are meant to be. Self-compassion also helps us break free from the cycle of self-doubt and negative self-talk. When we're hard on ourselves, we create an internal environment of criticism and judgment, which can hold us back from reaching our full potential. Self-compassion, however, nurtures a mindset of encouragement and support. It allows us to replace harsh words with kind ones, to shift from self-criticism to self-encouragement. Over time, this practice reshapes the way we view ourselves, building confidence and resilience from within. We become our own source of strength, unshakable in the knowledge that we are deserving of love and respect. Another profound benefit of self-compassion is that it strengthens our ability to be compassionate toward others. When we understand our own struggles and treat ourselves with kindness, we become more empathetic and understanding toward those around us. We recognize that everyone has their battles, their hidden hurts, and their moments of weakness. This awareness helps us cultivate deeper, more meaningful connections with others, allowing us to support each other in ways that are genuine and compassionate. Self-compassion becomes a bridge that not only connects us to ourselves, but also connects us to those we love. Self-compassion provides a foundation for resilience. When we're kind to ourselves in times of difficulty, we build the strength to weather life's storms with grace. Instead of being crushed by setbacks, we find the courage to keep going, knowing that our worth is not defined by anyone's success or failure. Self-compassion reminds us that we are more than our circumstances, that we are capable of rising above any challenge because we are supported by an unwavering inner kindness. This resilience becomes a well of inner strength that we can draw upon whenever we need it, empowering us to face the future with courage. Finally, self-compassion invites us to embrace our true selves, to let go of the need to be perfect or to meet others' expectations. When we practice self-compassion, we give ourselves permission to be exactly who we are, to honor our unique journey without apology. This authenticity allows us to live with greater purpose and fulfillment, to pursue the things that truly matter to us. Self-compassion becomes a guiding light, helping us stay true to ourselves no matter where life takes us. It's the foundation upon which we build a life of meaning, resilience, and joy, grounded in the knowledge that we are worthy of love and kindness, both from others and, most importantly, from ourselves. Letting go of shame and stigma is one of the most liberating steps we can take on the path to healing. Shame is a heavy burden, often born from the fear that our flaws or struggles make us somehow less worthy. Stigma, on the other hand, is the external judgment that society can place on certain experiences, making us feel isolated or different. Together, shame and stigma can create a powerful barrier, keeping us from sharing our true selves, reaching out for help, or even acknowledging our own pain. But letting go of these weights is not only possible, it's necessary if we are to live fully with self-acceptance and inner peace. Shame often makes us believe that we are alone in our struggles, that no one else could possibly understand what we're going through. It whispers that we're somehow different, that our pain or our mistakes make us unworthy of love and respect. But when we look closely, we find that everyone has their own challenges, their own moments of vulnerability and self-doubt. We are not alone in feeling this way, and recognizing this truth can be the first step in letting go of shame. Understanding that we are part of a shared human experience allows us to see our struggles as normal, as something that connects us rather than isolates us. Letting go of shame involves allowing ourselves to be vulnerable, to open up about our experiences without fear of judgment. This can feel risky, especially in a world that sometimes values perfection over authenticity. But vulnerability is not weakness, it is a strength that allows us to be true to ourselves. When we share our stories, we begin to dismantle the power that shame holds over us. We give ourselves permission to be seen, not just for the parts of us that seem polished and strong, but for all that we are. This openness allows us to build real connections with others, connections that are built on honesty and understanding. Stigma is often a reflection of societal judgments, labels that are placed on certain experiences or characteristics. But these labels do not define us. They are simply constructs that society has created. Letting go of stigma requires us to separate our identity from these external judgments, to recognize that our worth is not determined by others' opinions. We begin to understand that the stigma around mental health struggle or vulnerability is based on misunderstandings, on a lack of empathy and awareness. By letting go of stigma, we allow ourselves to rise above these judgments, to live authentically regardless of societal expectations. When we let go of shame and stigma, we create space for self-acceptance. We no longer have to hide parts of ourselves or pretend to be something we're not. We can embrace our journey with all its highs and lows, knowing that every experience has contributed to who we are today. This self-acceptance is not about ignoring our flaws, but about embracing them as part of our unique path. It's about understanding that we are enough, just as we are, and that our worth is not tied to perfection or to meeting anyone else's standards. Letting go of shame and stigma frees us to live with greater authenticity and inner peace. Releasing shame and stigma also empowers us to seek help when we need it. Often the fear of judgment keeps us from reaching out, from allowing others to support us on our journey. But when we let go of these fears, we open ourselves to the possibility of healing through connection. We start to see that asking for help is not a sign of weakness, but a courageous step toward growth. Whether through therapy, support groups, or simply sharing with trusted friends, seeking help becomes an act of self-respect, a recognition that we deserve to feel supported and understood. Letting go of shame allows us to accept the care and compassion that others are willing to offer. As we release shame and stigma, we become part of a larger movement of change, challenging outdated beliefs and encouraging others to embrace their own journeys. By choosing authenticity over secrecy, we inspire others to do the same, creating a ripple effect of acceptance and understanding. We begin to see that our individual courage can help to reshape society's views, to create a culture where vulnerability is honored rather than hidden, where struggles are seen as part of the human experience rather than as something to be ashamed of. Each act of self-acceptance becomes a beacon of hope for others, lighting the way toward a world that values compassion and openness. Letting go of shame and stigma also strengthens our resilience. When we are no longer bound by the weight of others' judgments, we find a sense of inner freedom that allows us to face life's challenges with greater strength. We are no longer held back by fear of what others might think. Instead, we are guided by our own values and sense of purpose. This resilience allows us to move forward confidently, knowing that we are defined not by society's expectations, but by our own courage, our willingness to be real, and our commitment to living a life that honors our truth. Ultimately, letting go of shame and stigma is about reclaiming our own story, refusing to let the judgments of others dictate how we see ourselves. It's about standing tall in the face of adversity, choosing self-acceptance over self-doubt, and finding peace in the knowledge that we are enough. Transforming pain into purpose is one of the most powerful journeys we can undertake. Pain can feel like an uninvited guest in our lives, one that disrupts our peace and leaves us questioning why we have to endure it. But pain, as difficult as it is, holds within it the potential for transformation. When we stop seeing pain as something that merely happens to us and start viewing it as a stepping stone to growth, we unlock its hidden purpose. We begin to see that pain can be a pathway guiding us toward a life of deeper meaning, resilience, and purpose. The process of transforming pain into purpose begins with acceptance. Accepting our pain doesn't mean we like it or that we stop wishing it hadn't happened, but it does mean we stop fighting against it. We acknowledge that this experience, as difficult as it may be, is part of our journey. In accepting our pain, we create space to explore it, to understand it, and to allow it to teach us. Rather than letting it consume us, we choose to face it with courage, recognizing that every moment of hardship can serve as a lesson, an opportunity to uncover strengths we may never have realized we possessed. Through pain, we often come to understand ourselves on a deeper level. Pain strips away the unnecessary, leaving us with a clarity that reveals who we are at our core. It has a way of revealing our values, our priorities, and what truly matters to us. When we're in pain, we gain insight into the parts of our lives that need attention, the relationships that nurture us, and the passions that sustain us. This newfound self-awareness becomes the foundation for purpose. We start to build a life that honors what we've learned about ourselves, using our experiences to guide us toward a path that feels meaningful and true. Transforming pain into purpose also involves helping others who are going through similar struggles. Pain teaches us empathy. It helps us understand what others might be feeling. When we faced our own darkness, we are often more willing to extend a hand to those in need, to offer words of comfort or a listening ear. This act of reaching out to others, of using our experiences to bring light to someone else's life, not only eases our own suffering, but creates a ripple effect of healing. By turning our pain into an act of service, we discover a sense of fulfillment that only comes from connecting with and supporting others. Pain can ignite a sense of resilience that we didn't know we had. Each time we face pain and choose to keep going, we become stronger, more determined, and more resilient. This resilience is not about denying our pain or pretending it doesn't affect us. It's about rising above it, allowing it to shape us into someone who can handle life's challenges with grace. This strength becomes part of our purpose, a reminder that we can endure, grow, and even thrive despite hardship. As we build resilience, we empower ourselves to create a life that reflects our ability to overcome, a life rooted in the knowledge that we are capable of facing anything. Transforming pain into purpose is also about creating meaning from the experiences that have shaped us. When we choose to see our pain as a catalyst for growth, we are actively deciding to give it a positive role in our lives. This doesn't erase the pain, but it does shift our perspective, allowing us to find value in even the most difficult moments. We begin to see that pain, as challenging as it may be, has shaped our character, refined our goals, and inspired us to make changes that align with our truest selves. By giving our pain a purpose, we reclaim our story, turning what could have been a setback into a stepping stone toward a life that reflects our inner strength. Embracing pain as part of our journey also allows us to let go of resentment and bitterness. Instead of holding on to the anger or sadness that our pain initially brought, we choose to release it by channeling it into something constructive. We may find ourselves drawn to creative pursuits, advocacy, or personal projects that allow us to express what we've been through in a way that brings beauty or meaning into the world. This creative transformation becomes a source of healing, a way to turn our struggles into something that not only enriches our lives, but inspires others to find purpose in their own experiences. Finally, transforming pain into purpose teaches us gratitude. As we reflect on our journey, we come to appreciate the strength, wisdom, and empathy that pain has cultivated within us. We may not be grateful for the pain itself, but we can be grateful for the person we've become because of it. This gratitude allows us to embrace life with a renewed sense of appreciation, to see every moment as an opportunity for growth, connection, and purpose. By turning our pain into a source of gratitude, we find peace in our journey, knowing that every experience has contributed to the richness of our lives. Transforming pain into purpose is an ongoing process, one that requires patience, courage, and self-compassion. But as we walk this path, we find that our pain, rather than diminishing us, becomes a source of light, guiding us toward a life of meaning, resilience, and purpose. Creating positive spaces for healing is essential in a world where challenges and hardships are a part of everyone's journey. Healing is often deeply personal, but the environment we surround ourselves with plays a crucial role in our ability to recover, grow, and find peace. Positive spaces, whether physical places, supportive relationships, or nurturing routines, act as safe havens where we can release our burdens, regain our strength, and rebuild our spirit. These spaces allow us to pause, to reflect, and to reconnect with the parts of ourselves that may feel broken or lost. By intentionally cultivating these spaces, we lay the foundation for genuine healing and self-renewal. A positive space for healing can begin with the people we allow into our lives. Supportive relationships with friends, family, or mentors who listen without judgment, who uplift us, and who encourage our growth can make all the difference in our healing journey. These individuals remind us that we don't have to face our struggles alone, that there are people who care deeply about our well-being. Their presence alone creates a sense of comfort and safety, allowing us to be vulnerable and honest about our experiences. Building and nurturing these connections creates a support system that strengthens us, helping us heal through the love and empathy of others. Physical spaces also play a powerful role in fostering healing. Environments that are calming, filled with natural light, or decorated with meaningful items can have a profound effect on our mood and mental state. A space that feels peaceful and welcoming helps to quiet the mind. encouraging us to relax and let go of the tension we may be carrying. Whether it's a cozy corner in our home, a nearby park, or even a place where we can reconnect with nature, creating a physical environment that supports healing allows us to find refuge from the noise of daily life and reconnect with our inner peace. In addition to physical and relational spaces, creating a space of time for healing is equally essential. Life's demands often make it difficult to pause, to reflect, and to rest. By setting aside time each day, whether it's through meditation, journaling, or simply sitting in quiet reflection, we allow ourselves to process our emotions, to check in with our mental and emotional state, and to prioritize self-care. This dedicated time becomes a sanctuary where we can explore our thoughts and feelings without distraction, giving ourselves permission to heal at our own pace. Making time for healing is a powerful act of self-respect, a reminder that our well-being deserves our attention and care. Practicing mindfulness within these spaces can further deepen our healing journey. Mindfulness helps us stay present to experience each moment fully without judgment. When we are mindful, we become more aware of our thoughts, feelings, and reactions, which helps us to understand the root causes of our pain and to approach our healing process with patience. In a positive space, mindfulness creates a grounding effect, helping us feel centered and in control. This presence of mind allows us to face our emotions without becoming overwhelmed, to acknowledge them and let them pass through us as part of the natural process of healing. Creating positive spaces for healing also means surrounding ourselves with practices and activities that bring us joy and relaxation. Engaging in creative outlets, hobbies, or simple pleasures can act as healing rituals, helping us release tension and connect with ourselves in meaningful ways. These practices remind us of the beauty in life, of the moments that bring us peace and fulfillment. Whether it's paint dancing, gardening, or spending time with loved ones, integrating joyful activities into our healing spaces gives us a sense of purpose and balance, reminding us that healing isn't only about addressing pain, it's also about finding joy and renewal. Boundaries are an essential aspect of creating positive spaces for healing. Protecting our energy and setting boundaries with others allows us to focus on our well-being without unnecessary distractions or stress. This may mean limiting our exposure to negative influences, stepping back from situations that drain us, or simply saying no when we need rest. Establishing these boundaries is an act of self-care, a way of honoring our need for peace and recuperation. By creating a boundary around our healing space, we ensure that it remains a safe and nurturing environment free from anything that might hinder our progress. A positive space for healing also involves self-compassion, creating an internal environment where we treat ourselves with kindness and understanding. Self-compassion allows us to be patient with our healing process, to forgive ourselves for the times we struggle, and to recognize that healing is not linear. When we approach ourselves with compassion, we create a mental space where we feel safe to explore our feelings, where we can make mistakes and learn from them without judgment. This inner kindness becomes a powerful tool for healing, encouraging us to embrace our humanity and to treat ourselves as we would a friend in need. Ultimately, creating positive spaces for healing is about giving ourselves the foundation we need to feel whole again. It's about building environments inside and out that support our journey, that encourage us to grow, and that remind us of our strength. These spaces, whether they're made up of people, places, or moments of solitude, become the canvas upon which we rebuild our lives, piece by piece. Through these intentional choices, we create a sanctuary where healing is not only possible, but becomes a natural and transformative part of our lives.